I was AFK farming these turtles, and I found out they only show up in one part of the map. And that is the top left corner of the map of Moonville. And so you can like farm all 6,000 of them in this one spot. For some reason, they only spawn in this spot. Or from some, I've done some minor testing. I spent a whole like I don't know 2 hours in the middle, 0 turtles. As soon as I go to the top left corner, look at all those turtles. Crazy turtles. And I probably already got the Kappa achievement already. And I could probably stop. Let's stop right now. I've been doing it for like a little bit. There it is, 6,000 Kappas. Told you. That unlocks Gabbit. Okay. Is that the item I need? Let me see. Does he have a unique item? Yes, he does. He has the bubbles. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I need to play Gabbit. Oh, how do I defeat Sammies? I have to find out where they spawn. Oh, dang it. Let's go. Um, so I've done Moonspell, so probably this one's where the worms are at. I'll have to search around a little bit to find them. Because they only... what are you doing here? This weapon is the bubbles. Don't see any bubbles. There it is. +3 amount. Okay. +3 bubbles. Yes. So there's one right there. Killed one of those Sammies. Only one Sammy spawned at the very beginning of here. He said, and there's no more ever. So I'm gonna find out where the Sammies spawn. Whoa. No. No. I'll go with Magic Wand. Woo! Relic? Ooh, these guys are not dying fast enough. I'm not totally sure. Go back. Hold on, checking something real quick. We need the yellow. It goes with the Bible. It's perfect. What else do I need? Nothing else. There's no Sammies here. We're gonna have to explore all around. Let's get some crowns up above. So we have to find. So I think the Sammies will spawn somewhere in this area. Just have to figure it out. Uh-oh. Did I go the wrong way? Alright, so I think that's it for the maze. There's exit to the left, not that one. Well, those mushroom guys are tough. Huh. Not sure how I could play. It might be isolated. Yeah, probably isolated. Okay, we're gonna go next. Clover's bottom left. We're going bottom left, see if we get Sammies. We're just looking for Sammies. If we get it, it's great. If not, whatever. We're gonna do. Find that. What's this? We have a YouTube video with Curse of Baggins. I was thinking about this because I heard on the radio, well, I was listening to the radio while I was driving, and they were talking about the advertising the new movie Baggins. I didn't even know there was a new movie Baggins until I saw it or heard the radio, and the commercial was so terrible. I just don't know who they make these movies for.
We have some breaking Lord of the Rings news, ladies and gentlemen, from both genders. And no, it's not from Amazon. It's from Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers to release new Lord of the Rings movie, The Hunt for Gollum, in 2026. Peter Jackson to produce and Andy Serkis to direct. That sounds great, right? Not so sure. Warner Brothers will release the first new batch of live-action Lord of the Rings films, yes, that's plural, in 2026, which will focus on Andy Serkis' Gollum. Yes, you have questions. I have questions. We'll get to them. Original The Lord of the Rings trilogy filmmaker Peter Jackson and his partners Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens are producing the movie and will be involved every step of the way. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav said during an earnings call this Thursday, the project is currently in the very early stages, meaning they just signed the deal, of a script development from the writers Walsh and Boyens, which isn't terrible news, along with Phoebe Gittins and Artie, I can't say that last name, and will explore storylines yet to be told. No. And this is where Hollywood gets itself in trouble every single time. Listen, you can't go home again. The Hobbit should have proven that. I love Andy Serkis, Peter, Fran, and Philippa. I also loved RTD until he returned to Doctor Who and destroyed it some more. Again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's hear what they have to say. For over 2 decades, moviegoers have embraced the Lord of the Rings film trilogy, the greatest trilogy ever made, because of the undeniable devotion Peter, Fran, and Philippa have shown towards protecting the legacy of Tolkien's works, except for that love triangle in The Hobbit, and to ensure audiences could experience the incredible world he created in a way that honors his literary vision, DeLuca and Abdi, whoever they are, said in a statement Thursday. We are honored that they have agreed to be our partners in these 2 new films. With Andy coming aboard to direct Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, we continue an important commitment to excellence that is a true hallmark of how we all want to venture ahead and further contribute to the Lord of the Rings cinematic history. Jackson, Walsh, and Boyens added, it is an honor and a privilege to travel back to Middle-earth with our good friend and collaborator Andy Serkis, who has unfinished business with that stinker Gollum. As lifelong fans of Professor Tolkien's vast mythology, we are proud to be working with Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdi, and the entire team at Warner Brothers on another epic adventure. Yes, my precious, Serkis says, the time has come once more to venture into the unknown with my dear friends, the extraordinary and incomparable guardians of Middle-earth, Peter, Fran, and Philippa, with Mike and Pam and Warner Brothers team on this quest as well, alongside Weta and our filmmaking family in New Zealand. It's all just too delicious, and, well, I mean, here's the good news. They are absolutely fucking with Amazon, and I'm here for it. Now here's the problem. You've already told the best story. This was the same problem with The Hobbit coming out after the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It was anticlimactic. And I don't know if both films are going to be about the hunt for Gollum, if that's going to be a total disaster if they are, or if they're doing another separate side quest, because that's exactly what this is. A side quest that's told in flashback from Gandalf in the 2nd chapter of the Fellowship of the Ring, The Shadow of the Past. And as Wade Stotts correctly points out on Twitter, a paragraph from the Council of Elrond. Whether this be 1 film or 2, they're going to have to pad it, so we'll get more of the origins of Gollum. We'll see him escaping the caves of the Misty Mountains after losing his ring to Bilbo. traveling to Mordor, being tortured under the watchful eye of Sauron, and they'll probably show Sauron. The hunt itself by Aragorn takes place well after Bilbo's 111th birthday, and that's what most of the story will be. So hey, maybe we'll get to see Gollum eat babies and Gandalf torture Gollum. Oh, by the way, this has already been done with a fan film with the exact same name. And how do you all feel about them recasting, just to name a few, possibly Bilbo, Frodo, Gandalf, and Aragorn? What could possibly go wrong? That being said, if this has to be made, I'm glad it's being overseen by Andy Serkis, Peter Jackson, and the rest. And Weta is involved, and it's being shot in New Zealand. And aesthetically, they're probably going to try to make it fit as close as possible within Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. I'm just not sure that is possible in today's modern society because of the obligatory DEI obligations every single one of these companies has in entertainment. Everything going on with Lord of the Rings over the last few years with Amazon and Warner Brothers is a situation best described by, of all people, George R.R. Martin before The Rings of Power came out.
Yeah, I think of the Star Wars novels that were licensed. Would you ever license others to write in Westeros?
No, not while I'm alive. But, you know, eventually I will not be alive, because Valar Morghulis, all men must die, and I don't think my wife, if she survives me, will allow that either. But one thing that history has shown us is that eventually these literary rights pass to grandchildren or collateral descendants or people who didn't actually know the writer and don't care about his wishes. It's just a cash cow to them, and then we get abominations, to my mind, like you know, Scarlet, the Margaret Gone with the Wind sequel, or these things that where the grandchildren or great grandchildren just see an opportunity to make a buck. I hate to see that, actually. I admire, I've always admired Tolkien, and he's an immense influence on fantasy. And although I've never met the man, I admire Christopher Tolkien, who's his son, who's been the guardian of Tolkien's estate, and has never allowed that, because I'm sure there's publishers waiting in the wings with giant bags of money, just waiting for someone to say, yes, go ahead, let's write Sauron Strikes Back. And I hope I never see Sauron Strikes Back written by some great writer who leaps in at the opportunity.
Listen, props to Warner Brothers and David Zaslav for fucking with Amazon, bringing in the creators of the greatest trilogy ever made to oversee this project, and finally waking up and putting out the extended versions of Lord of the Rings in wide release this June. Of course, I'm going to go see that. And a quick reminder, this will not be directed by Peter Jackson. It will be directed by very good actor and also director of Venom 2, Andy Serkis, and it will still be better than The Rings of Power. But you'll have to forgive me for having some very serious doubts. I said this a couple of years before The Rings of Power came out, and it remains true. I do not believe modern Hollywood is capable of adapting Tolkien because the entire industry is antithetical to the man's beliefs. And of course I'm gonna watch this. What are you, crazy? But unfortunately, it's just another example of what Bob Iger said recently in a quarterly earnings call. You're not adding to any story, you're IP mining.
And the IP that we're mining, including all the sequels that we're doing, is second to none.
You know, somewhere in the multiverse, there's a timeline where none of this crap is going on. George Lucas didn't sell Star Wars, Jar Jar Abrams and Alex Kurtzman didn't destroy Star Trek, RTD didn't return to Doctor Who to destroy it, but it's not this timeline. Warner Brothers need to look no further than their pals at Disney with Disney Star Wars, who, now that we've looked at the decade of crap that they put out, they would have been much better off just making t-shirts and toys. But whatever happens, nothing will take away from Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings trilogy, the greatest trilogy ever made. The Hobbit couldn't do it, and Amazon's The Rings of Power isn't even in the same realm. And we will never see the likes of it again, and that's okay.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
Hmm. I'm still trying to get the pentagon. It's not giving me any food. I'm trying to kill all these Sammies, but it's just, this is... I wish I had better weapons for these Sammies. Get back here, Sammy. You too, you too. These worms are avoiding me. They're just crossing me. Yeesh. I think oh, jeez, what's this? Hmm. Dang. Hmm. There we go. Freaking about time. Gee whiz. Pick up the rest of the stuff. Let's see. What goes with both? Yellow, red, red, yellow. I need a clover. I'll take that. You to get anything else. Racer? No. Maybe? Yeesh. What are those Sammy worms? Spinach? Stone mask is good. Let's see. I'm still alive. I'm gonna go grab some of the rest of the stuff. Oh my gosh.
What's this? Warner Bros. Says the failure of Suicide Squad contributed to a $200 million hit to revenue. That's it? Oh, it's not so bad, right? Q1 financial reports The revenue declined significantly as a result of a tough comparison with last year's best-selling video game Hogwarts Legacy. Oh, that's the game that kills trans people. I forgot about that. One of the most popular games. And by the way, crazy thing about this is that it wasn't live service. As a follow-up investor-focused call, called the release of Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League disappointing. Well, let's just see how disappointing it really is. That's pretty disappointing. 112. Well,
No
hey,
one's playing
guys, at least they're going to be in the triple digits for probably another week, and
Can you get
then
enough
they'll
money?
probably go down to double digits. $200 million deleted. And this is what's so funny, right? They even delayed this game because it was bad. That's what was so crazy to me about this. Before the game got released, it got delayed for being garbage. Like, if I was the person who was responsible for this game, I would take out a life insurance policy because I would be worried about the company that I worked for hiring a hitman. You know, they call up Boeing. Eventually, I'm done, man. Turns out Suicide Squad is the name of the investors. So, yes, there is going to be a new Lord of the Rings movie announced for 2026. Warner Brothers has announced a new Lord of the Rings film called Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, which has been directed by star Andy Serkis and is iconic to your role. The film will be executively produced by Jackson Walsh. Wait, Jackson, you talking about Peter Jackson? Where does come on with Peter Jackson?
Halt! He's already making me mad. That's Peter Jackson, Fran Walsh, and Philippa Boyens, the original screenwriters for Lord of the Rings. Now,
Yeah, that's what they said on the radio. On the
Jackson.
radio.
It's been an honor and privilege
And I
to
was
travel
like,
back to Middle
really?
Earth.
They
Good
can't.
friend and
I didn't think the
collaborator.
original was good either. I thought it was
Guys, I'm
slow
gonna
and
be
boring.
honest, I bet this is gonna suck.
Guys, I implore you to resist the urge of disliking the video.
It was faithful but slow and
This
very
person
boring.
simply has no fucking idea what he's talking about. Any fan worthy of the name knows what an incredible actor and director Andy Serkis is, and his insane contribution to the original trilogy. Now, I don't deny that making a movie about Gollum is a dubious decision at best, but only a fool would instantly say something will suck when you have the original trio producing and this jigger-chad directing.
Now, why do I think it's gonna suck? Ain't nobody give a fuck about Gollum. That nasty little rat. Who the fuck is gonna make a story about him? He's the worst
true.
character. He's fucking boring. You know what?
True.
I'm gonna tell y'all something.
True.
Eru Ilvatar, the god of the Lord of the Rings universe, only interfered in 2 situations in the entire history of Middle Earth. The first time was whenever he sank Numenor, and the second time was whenever he made Gollum trip and fall into the lava in the mountain of Mount Doom. The ring was probably just a secondary reason.
Don't let him fool you with this overload of information. This fake fan didn't even read a whole book.
When you said you read Lord of the Rings, really enjoyed it. So I read the first half of the first book. I didn't read any of the other books besides the first one.
So, whenever he starts yapping again on stream, remember that this is the book he read.
If I want to find Gollum, I want to see a Gollum story, I just go under a bridge. I don't need to see this in a movie. They have Peter Jackson producing it. I don't give a shit about that. He directed the Hobbit movies and they sucked.
That's enough! This fake
It
fan
kinda
has
did
no
suck.
idea why the movies sucked. Originally, Guillermo
They're
del
boring.
Toro was supposed to direct the Hobbit movies, but after years of prep, he decided to step away, forcing Peter Jackson to step in at the last minute or risk having the entire New Zealand movie sector to collapse. Since so many people's jobs depended on these movies, for Lord of the Rings, Peter had 4 years of prep time. Meanwhile, for The Hobbit, virtually none. And, right as they started,
Well, still,
he
that's-
also had a perforated
that-
ulcer,
okay,
losing another 4 months.
Just because somebody dropped the project at last minute does not give them an excuse to be a bad movie, okay? The executives should have made it right the first time. This is dumb. Making excuses. That's all they're doing. Making excuses for your mistakes. And I hate that. It was a boring movie. Just tell the truth.
Of time.
Filmmaker Sir Peter Jackson's had a health scare and filming of The Hobbit will be delayed while he recovers from surgery for a bleeding ulcer.
So, yes, The Hobbit was not Lord of the Rings, but it was still a fine movie considering what he went through. And yes, we are concerned about this upcoming movie, but the talent behind it makes me hope for the best. If enough time and freedom is given to them, then we have nothing to worry about.
No. That's the problem. He's not going to have enough time or freedom. They're going to force him to do something, and he's going to be forced to make it bad. The problem is not the good director. The problem is that the people in charge does not equal the good direction. People in charge are trash. If the people in charge make the good directors trash, then it's going to be a bad movie. A good director should not sacrifice their reputation so that they can serve their overlords. They should stay, they should have their standards set and never compromised. Of course, they will always be compromised. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. What's this?
But yeah, it looks like Kotaku is continuing to fall apart. Kotaku's laid off 4 more staff. One of them is the person who wrote Stellar Blades Eve is the hottest when she's not revealing everything. Man.
Context. In the past months, Kotaku's holding company, Geo Media, has been trying to sell every website that it owns, and Kotaku is one of the few it has left. 2 months ago, the editor-in-chief resigned. Now 4 other employees were laid off, which is basically the entire YouTube team of a channel that has been dying for years. It is still not quite clear if Kotaku's extraordinaire Alyssa Mercante resigned too after she updated her Twitter bio. Just yesterday, she was proudly sharing how she was DMing somebody's wife of a person she was having Twitter beef with.
Like, this is like IRL doxing and like getting involved in like people's real life. I would not be surprised if something like this caused her to lose her job.
She then defended herself by saying that people can DM her parents as much as they want. Not a problem at all. Turns out that's the stupidest thing you can ever possibly say on the internet, since there are schizos ready to take up the challenge, and please do report anyone who does this.
People are just tired of it. It's exhausting. Young people don't read Kotaku. To be fair, nobody does. And that's why they're really firing everybody. It's because they've destroyed their reputation. I don't think Kotaku is going to be able to redeem its reputation. I think they have to rename the company. They have to, like, remake the entire thing.
They have to rename themselves Dead Taco. That'd be funny. Let's
turn on assist mode and get the gun. Give Krill a gun. What the fuck? I got a gat? No way, right? Are you fucking kidding me? I can't get them. They're too close. It's bro, I got America mode on now. Does it one-shot bosses? I'll go try. What are you doing?
No, Krill, wait! Don't put that on!
Oh my god. Wow. That made it way easier. There it is. Another crab's treasure. What a fucking game.
Why do they have food up here? I'm tempted to check if it's actually food. Yeah. This. Up. Right. Over that. Left. Looking for it. Oh, there it is. Jeez, it's so hard to find this thing. Gotcha. I'm gonna go up to get those food so it's not bugging me. You'll see me bugging me. Okay. Nothing out of the way. Somebody move it over here. Really good in here? It was actually good in here. Move to the left, maybe? Oh, these guys are coming out of course. I'll take the food from the table. Yes. Yeah. Don't go through walls? Negative. No through walls. Oh, I just did. Through the wall. Keep down here. Keep. Yeah, over here. Whoa. Oh, that's a tough wall. Gotta go around it. Yeah, it's a little hobbit house. Alright. Let's get the vehicle moving. Instagram changed women forever. Oh gosh.
If one trend of 2023 shows how far we've fallen, it was the Barbie Botox. Named after the toy's signature long neck, the procedure spread like wildfire on Instagram after the release of the film. A series of injections to the trapezius muscles in the neck renders them unable to contract, which lowers your shoulders and makes your neck look slightly longer. Despite the risk of muscle paralysis and severe pain, thousands of people rushed out to get this hot new treatment. But this is a very recent phenomenon. No one did this in the past. No movie made people do this kind of thing. And that's when you realize the Barbie Botox is just the tip of a massive
Bro, what are you doing, man? Why are you doing this?
She looks like an alien.
Massive iceberg, a trend that's hiding behind the surface. You see, the plastic surgery industry has been booming for years. Off the
I wonder
back
why.
Of Instagram and TikTok. Invasive procedures go in and out of fashion every month. As a young, impressionable audience goes from one insecurity to another, fed to them by Instagram's algorithm. Meanwhile, celebrities and influencers work hand in hand with the industry, making promotional posts and boasting about...
Yeah, a lot of content creators, like, this is kind of like a thing that a lot of people might not know about, but a lot of content creators actually get basically sponsorships with, like, plastic surgery places. And, like, this even happens in Korea and stuff, too. Obviously happens in Korea because they're, like, really big into plastic surgery, or South Korea is. And so, like, they'll go over there and have some shit done on them, and then they'll promote the place that they have it done, and so it's like kind of it's a win-win for them.
Their procedures and the results. As new procedures dip in and out of fashion, influencers target people's mental weaknesses and make a fortune drumming up clients for the industry. And now that plastic surgery is growing fastest among young adults looking to replicate the inhuman perfection they see on the app, it's time we really expose how Instagram is quite literally changing the face of the world. At the time,
well, it is, and also another thing is that one thing that people might not understand is that, like, what the difference between camera lenses are. For example, like, how many of you guys have taken a picture, you've, like, looked in the mirror, and you've been like, oh, I look good, and then you take a picture with your phone, and you say, wow, actually, you know what? Never mind, I look like a fucking ogre. Like, it happens a lot, right? Why does that happen? It happens because of the camera lens. But people just don't know about that. Wide angle isn't flattering. Yeah, no, it's not, generally, right? And so that's the thing, but people don't know about that because it's like a camera tech thing. So a lot of this, a lot of the fucked up things that people get into, they get into those things because they're just simply naive.
Some of it's
or they just don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, jeez.
Possible to predict the rise of Instagram.
It's like especially bad for like girls with big noses, right? Because like a camera lens, like a phone camera lens will like emphasize that a lot. That's why girls hate, you know, like there's a lot of girls now that like get nose surgery.
Biggest social media apps in the world. But looking back, it's easy to see that all the right ingredients were there for massive success. It all goes down to the founders Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger. The pair originally met while studying at Stanford, and even before they had started their careers, they were being headhunted by the big names in tech. Kevin Systrom even turned down an internship at Facebook to spend time studying photography in Italy. Kevin would go on to intern at Odeo, a small app which would later become Twitter, and afterwards he would then get headhunted by Google and worked there for 2 years.
Good for
and
him.
Even after a short short time in the industry, Kevin was frustrated. He had just been passed up for a promotion and was sick of the culture of the company, and went against all the original ideas of Silicon Valley. Kevin wanted to fully throw himself into a creative idea and exploit an opening in the market by building something of his own. Kevin knew his old college friend Mike was just as ambitious as he was, and so he thought he would explain his vision for a new app, something he would tell Forbes in an interview a few years later. Mike Krieger and I created Instagram because we wanted a way to communicate visually. We realized that we'd be taking all these photos with our iPhones that would sit on our camera roll, and it felt like they should be seen, not necessarily because they were good photos, but because a photo that no one sees isn't really that interesting.
Well, that's another big reason, is that, like, before we had Instagram, you really had, like, I mean, you had, like, Photo Bucket, like, and a few other, like, random websites. But the problem is that there wasn't really a following feature. So the big reason why, at least, like, how many of you guys have an Instagram, but you've never posted a picture on Instagram? Yeah, Flickr? Yeah, a lot of people, right? And so what do you use Instagram for? You use Instagram as, like, it's like a Pokedex for girls. And so that's the way I use Instagram. I have a few posts on there I make since I make content. You know, it's like every once in a while I'll do that. But when was the last time I made a post on Instagram? Let me go and look and see for myself. Let's see. How do I even open up my account? I made a post in March 8th of 2023. And it says, I took this before I went to Dairy Queen. So that was over a year ago. But I go on Instagram every single day. It's crazy.
The photo you take communicates something about a moment in time, a brief slice of time of where you were, who you were with, and what you were doing. And funnily enough, their idea would prove to be one of the most lucrative ideas of the 21st century. Kevin and Mike immediately got to work on Instagram, pouring everything they had into this new app. And then just...
Yeah, like back then, like, you didn't have, like, because Facebook was the only other platform you had. And, like, with a lot of these, like, people that you want to follow, like, you want to follow some hot girl, like, you don't want to see, like, her talking about, like, what she thinks about Obama. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I just want to look at the pictures. And so, like, Instagram, like, filled a need that people didn't have then.
2 weeks, they had already secured $500,000 of funding from investors, and were starting to get it ready to launch to the public. But it still wasn't easy. It took the pair a year of work to get everything ready, but they still weren't prepared for what would happen next. Now, there was plenty of interest in the app, and they could tell this from the demos. And so as soon as they launched the app, within just the first week, Instagram had gained over 100,000 users.
Oh yeah, people love this. And also another reason why is because Instagram didn't require you to put in all of your personal information, and by 2010, this is almost 2011, people had begun to distrust Facebook and were becoming worried about giving their personal information, whereas like Instagram was just like you make an account, you post photos, and that's it. So like at the time, Instagram was like uniquely poised to be an incredible value for like a user.
Highest amount of users gained for any single social media app in history. The service for the app and the infrastructure wasn't enough to keep up with the massive influx of users. The new company that barely had anyone working for it had already far exceeded expectations, and so they would have to invest tons back in just to keep the app functional, with back-end tweets and more processing power. And so the first year was just a mad rush to keep up with the user base, with Kevin and Mike sacrificing everything in their lives to keep it afloat. But just when they thought they had gotten on top of the growth, there would be more crashes and more problems to deal with. But as time went on, and they streamlined the process, their hard work was richly rewarded. You see, investors saw this.
That's a good chart.
To get a piece of the pie. In less than 2 months after its launch, the app already hit $1 million.
Probably a chart for like homelessness.
Instagram was injected with $7 million in investor funding, particularly through System Silicon Valley connections. And users just loved how you could make your photos look so much better than other apps like Facebook. And the key here,
they had like the built-in filters. I forgot all about that. Yeah, the filters in Instagram, and this was like something that happened in like 2011. I feel like by 2014 or 15, people kind of moved away from putting like the heavy filters on. But in like 2012 and 2013, it was very common that people would like super filter their content and have like 2 or 3 filters on it or shit like that. Yeah. Like different color grading, etc.
Early on, to make up for the poor quality of smartphone cameras at the time, the introduction of various photo filters would prove revolutionary. With the touch of a button, users could iron out their wrinkles, cover up any blemishes, and transform their mundane experiences into picturesque moments. What was meant as a simple fix for the lacking technology of the time took on a life of its own. Filters gave Instagram an air of perfection and artistic expression that transcended the dull.
Let me see if I have a single filter photo. I do, but this is one that somebody sent to me, so it's like, I'm not really sure if that really counts. Oh no, I think I have another. Yeah, I've done it twice. Other than that, no.
Photos your relatives
The J
were posting
Schlatt
on
filter?
Facebook
No.
at the time. Although Kevin and Mike could never have foresaw what they had really created and how this would be used in the future. But at the same time that Kevin and Mike were building the photo
No,
of the
Sam is
future,
here.
something else was going on. Other people were laying the groundwork for an entirely different way to push past the limits of natural beauty. Now, if you're going to blame anyone for the massive
fix
rise
it
in
or
plastic
something?
surgery, then you'd have to talk about people like the Kardashians.
Oh,
they
that's
were
on the other
unique
side,
among
isn't it?
celebrities at the time because they truly offered nothing except for their image and their lifestyle. Coming to fame in 2007 after
That wasn't new. Like, Paris Hilton did that before. Like, Paris Hilton walked so Kim Kardashian could run. Like, am I the only person that remembers all of the Paris Hilton shows in, like, the 2000s? What are we talking about? This is nothing special with Kim Kardashian. Yeah, they were friends? Yeah, I know.
viral sex tape, Kim and the gang went on to hold their 15 minutes of fame and stretched it out over multiple decades. Kim and her family's signature look exploded onto modern culture and still has an effect on beauty standards today. The modern world's obsession with full lips, big butts, and stenciled eyebrows is in large part thanks to them. Of course, the image they sold to the world so easily didn't really bear any relation to reality. First, as you can probably guess, there's all the cosmetic surgeries and procedures they've gone through to get there, and countless cases of makeup, professional photography, and Photoshop are added on. But out of thousands of those photos, only a select few are chosen to be shown to
It's
the
kind of like
public.
steroids for me.
Yeah, but if you're like a 12-year-old girl and you don't understand any of that because you're stupid because you're a 12-year-old girl, you're gonna see a picture of Kim Kardashian or like I don't know any of the other ones really, but like you're gonna see a picture of one of them and you're like, well, I don't look like that. I guess I should kill myself. That's what happens. It is, because they're stupid. They don't know the difference. And also, this happens with guys, too, right? It like, I mean, girls, I think it's
Boys
worse
want
for
to
girls.
do
It
steroids
is.
because they see
But,
it
like,
on
for
TV
guys,
all the
it's still a
time.
problem.
All the athletes use
Prior to social
steroids.
media, this kind of deception was only available to the rich and famous. Even their own influence alone has a huge effect on the cosmetic surgery industry. When a 17-year-old Kylie Jenner boasted of getting lip fillers to achieve her signature look, online searches for the procedure went up by over 3,000%. The so-called Brazilian butt lift.
That is nuts. Getting that shit at 17 years old? Oh my god.
It's terrible.
For guys, it's a bit different. Yeah, I mean, obviously for girls and guys, it's different, but this is nuts. Like, I would even say that for guys. Like, the problem is that, like, if you're a girl, like, yeah, you can get fit, but, like, a lot of the different things that, like, girls don't like about the way they look are, like, intrinsic things, like how big their boobs are. Or, like, you know, like the way their face looks, or, like, their chin or their nose. Where it's like, guys, I would say, like, 90% of guys, if you work out and you're in good shape, that's pretty much all you really need to do. Just do that. And you know, like, take care of yourself a little bit. Just do that.
Yeah.
procedures.
I feel like guys have like a, you know, it's like it's easier and harder, right? Because like working out is a lot harder than just going to like a place and then having them, you know, cut part of your nose off, for example. But at the same time, you don't have to do that. I'd rather not have somebody do that to me.
Kim and her family. The procedure involves a surgeon taking fat deposits from elsewhere in the body and then transferring them to the buttocks.
By the way, this is actually one of the most dangerous surgeries. Brazilian butt lifts are actually...
You know, really, it's the most insulting thing about all this is that when am I moving down? The most insulting thing is that women will always blame men for the increased beauty standards for women, but they're the ones that are doing it for themselves. No man, well, not any man that I know of, has told their wife or whatever that they need to get a boob job or whatever job, plastic surgery. No one ever done that. Never. Unless they're really desperate.
I think it's like, I don't know like what the percentage, I heard it was like 2.5% or something like that. Of them could be fatal, but I think that could also be wrong. But it's a very, very high percentage.
In 2018, the amount of butt lift.
What's this BBL Drizzy? What is? I keep seeing this. I don't know what it is. What is that? It's a Drake versus Kendrick thing? Yeah, no, I know that, but like, it's a long story. Okay, got it.
cartridges has risen by over 250%. Over time, though, the procedure just fades away and the results disappear, so regular procedure.
In a lot of cases, yeah, that's true. Like, I know a number of girls that have had some of this stuff done, and honestly, I would never do this shit. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, I even, like, that's the reason why I didn't even want to get a hair transplant. Like, even that was a bit too much for me. Like, that's scary. But yeah, this shit is extremely common. Like, there's a ton of girls that do OnlyFans that get this all the time. It is nuts whenever I see how much this is. This is a nickname Jersey has for Drake. Oh, I see. Kendrick says he has Brazilian butt lift in his latest diss song. That's funny.
Procedures are required to keep it up. Even the Kardashians themselves regretted the procedure in the end, with Kim recently admitting that she'd stopped having her top-ups. The procedure is massive top-ups, but also incredibly risky compared to other cosmetic surgery. When it goes wrong, people can get nasty infections and sometimes require surgery to remove the implants. Or if
well, the reason why also is because, like, the recovery process for this, I know a lot about this. The recovery process for this is, like, a matter of, like, a good number of months where you literally cannot sit down and you have to, like, sleep on your stomach and shit like that. It is crazy the amount of things that you need to do in order for this to actually work. It's fucked up? Yeah, it is.
that gets into the bloodstream, it can actually cause embolisms and blockages to vital organs.
Yeah, exactly. Weeks,
4,000 people died as a result of complications, which is what led to the UK banning this in 2018. Eventually, they reversed the decision in 2022 after bringing in new safety regulations, but there's still a whole world of unlicensed practitioners performing a different version of the procedure. While they're not allowed to perform the surgical version with the potentially fatal side effects, they're still allowed to blindly inject people with artificial substances. It's not like the UK's ban really did anything anyway. The people who were determined enough to get it done were freely able
they just go somewhere else.
Places like Turkey or Mexico, where the procedure is completely legal.
And it's also a lot cheaper.
Unregulated, far cheaper. Even today, there's countless adverts for this.
There's a lot of girls that go to South Korea for it too, for obvious reasons.
All over Facebook and Instagram. But nothing has promoted plastic surgery and made the world more plastic and fake than it's ever been, like Instagram. The Kardashians might have remained in the background for most people, ending up as has-been stars like so many before them. But instead, their recipe for success, based on their looks and their status alone, was about to go global.
They need to have a law.
It's because they're hot.
There's a problem. They need to have a law that women are not allowed to advertise to young, impressionable children if they had plastic surgery. There should be a law. It's destroying the youth.
Like, that's the reason why. I mean, like, what are we talking about? That's obviously the reason why. Like, duh, like...
That was all thanks to Instagram. But how did an innocent photo-sharing website become...
Are they though? A lot of people think so. Yeah, maybe you might not, but a lot of people do.
Zuckerberg. You see, Zuck's vision for a social media business was a lot different compared to Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger. While they were thinking about how to make money from people's photos, Mark was interested in modifying the people instead. Even before Mark started Facebook, he had already demonstrated his true feelings towards his users.
By the way, Mark Zuckerberg called people who handed over their data dumb fucks. Okay, based. True and based and real. He was right. He was fucking right.
Rejected, but the film The Social Network was true in this account of his website Facebook.
Right, like they just can't wrap their head around the idea that someone might build something because they like building things.
The evidence shows that it wasn't that far wrong. Articles from Harvard newspapers show how he plundered Harvard's registers with pictures of people's faces. He then used these to create a website where people could rank each other on attractiveness, while the backend...
I mean, like... Is this really supposed to be like some kind of fucking expose? A college guy made a website to rate girls? It's the right one, by the way. This one's way hotter. It's obvious. Is this really? Yeah, it's 2, right? Yeah, 100%. Like, what do you mean?
and secretly assigned them their own rating out of 10.
Yeah,
While
duh.
it was quickly shut down, the stunt informed the future development of Facebook to a massive degree. Facebook did the same thing, turning its users into the product, just in a more sinister way. It was all about maximizing engagement for users, whilst plundering all the possible data they could find, and then selling this to advertisers and giving them easy targets for their campaigns was the final step in the profit machine. Whilst these weren't new ideas, Zuckerberg perfected them at Facebook. A combination of aggressive data hoarding and addictive design practices turned Facebook into one of the biggest companies on the planet, almost overnight. But already by the early 2010s, Zuckerberg...
Well, people really liked Facebook. Facebook was a huge improvement over MySpace. MySpace was such trash. Like the website, like you would go onto people's profiles and you wouldn't know where anything was because of the, like all the different like applications and things on there, like the HTML customized stuff. It was bad.
Deep down, Facebook would be on the way out at the end of the decade, as he was failing to capture the next generation and was losing out to younger, more organic apps like Instagram. Meanwhile, things weren't amazing on Instagram either. Sure, growth was solid and the business was doing well, but after 2 years of grinding away, Kevin and Mike were sick of doing it alone. Now, they had built up a team at this point, but it was always an uphill struggle to keep up with the growth of people. Some sort of merger or acquisition would put an end to these troubles. It would get them all the investments they needed, with the added bonus of the infrastructure to push Instagram to the next level. So after turning down a few other suitors, Kevin and Mike sold the company almost entirely to Mark Zuckerberg.
This reminds me of, like, remember what idiot bought Tumblr for $1 billion? Man, like, I mean, because Facebook really made a good call with this, right? This is a very good decision. Bro, yeah, they bought it for $1 billion. Then they banned porn. It's like, wait a minute. That's like buying McDonald's and saying it's going to be vegan only. What the hell is the point?
Drop my controller.
Book in
Am I still alive?
Americans share photos on Instagram. A company with only 13 employees bought today by Facebook for $1 billion.
Damn. At first, it seemed like they made the right choice. Kevin and Mike were still
I bet they're pretty happy.
They were free to grow the app.
Yeah, they're good.
And through the intelligent use of their new resources, Instagram had exploded in popularity. Within a year, they hit 50 million users, then 100 million a few months afterwards. But this all came at a cost, because it wasn't long before Mark came in to slowly force the founders out along with their original principles, allowing Facebook to make changes to the app and its business model forever. In 2014, Facebook pushed for changes to the data hoarding practices, making the app use Facebook's invasive tactics. A year later, they gave advertisers far more power.
I never connected my Instagram with Facebook, as far as I know. I never did it. Because I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want people to see what I'm doing on Instagram or see what I'm doing on Facebook. Like, yeah, I never did that. Like, the only reason, like, I used to go on Instagram without an account. And then, like, they made it to where you had to have an account to look at people's pictures. And so then I made an account after that. Accidentally share something on Facebook. I never had that happen, but yeah.
Letting them run 30-second adverts buying products directly through the app. Compromising your personal information and data security with the new hands.
I think advertisements were fine.
The only reason why I have a Facebook account is sometimes it's required to do stuff.
That's why while you're exploring services like Instagram,
it's not because I want to be on Facebook looking at other people's pictures, but sometimes I'm required to log into Facebook to do something like.
But imagine navigating these apps like Instagram
check,
with complete control
Google
of your
website,
personal information, never having to compromise your privacy for the sake of convenience. Well, this is where our video sponsor Cloak steps in. You see, Cloak uses advanced technologies like client-side encryption and zero-knowledge access, ensuring that all of your communications are securely encrypted and completely private. This means you can use apps like Instagram without ever having to worry about your personal details being compromised.
Just makes info? I'm gonna be honest, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, it just makes fake it. That's great.
Think about it. While you're using apps like Instagram, every sign-up or interaction you have on the app might expose you to potential scams or even identity theft. But what if you could go online, where you could use social media apps like Instagram and sign up for rewards, make purchases, or even test out new apps without ever having to give away your actual phone number?
Damn, this is the first good I've seen in years. Yeah,
great solution to this, because with Cloaked, you can instantly create phone numbers, email addresses, and more to create a fully functional identity that protects your personal details from being abused, allowing you to sign up for rewards and discounts, all whilst avoiding all the spam that usually comes with it. You don't need to use your real phone number.
This is actually kind of a W ad. I'm going to be honest.
You don't have to use your actual email address and things like Instagram. or even have to use the internet without having to disclose your personal contact information. At the same time,
because I never, like, if I have to put in my account, like, I'm willing to give people an email sometimes, but, like, if I have to give them a phone number...
Well, oh, I didn't get the worm achievement. What the... Huh. I figured I'd get it. How many Sammies did I kill? 4,635. Oh, I was short. I didn't find them fast enough. Let's do it real quick. Who's fast? This guy's fast.
Ah, jeez, dude. Ah, man. Look at the time. I gotta go. Oh, yeah.
allows you to manage your passwords,
no phone,
text, and emails via specialized inboxes.
Not gonna happen.
It's accessible on desktops, extensions, and mobile devices. And if you ever decide you no longer wish to communicate with contacts holding your cloaked email or phone number, you can simply mute them directly from the app. And with the app, you'll have a unique database that spreads out data, that forges an encrypted barrier between your information and Cloaked, and routing your regular phone number for text and phone calls through Cloaked for extra security. So if you want to secure your personal information and not have to deal with all the garbage in your inboxes and messages, be sure to sign up to Cloaked today, and make sure to use my link in the description so that you can get a discount too.
Be sure to give me money.
That's probably the best advertiser I've ever seen. I'm gonna be honest. Like, that was actually a W ad.
Most insidious changes that happened when Zuckerberg took over Instagram were far more subtle. In 2014, Instagram added a whole suite of different editing tools. The app went from a place to post filtered pictures of your real life into a showroom for best looking photos of yourself that you could possibly create. By 2016, they made it so algorithms would decide what photos the app would show you. Instead of giving you a timeline of the photos that your friends had posted, Instagram would only show what it thought you would engage with the most, laying the groundwork for the addictive design that Facebook had already mastered. When Facebook began pushing for location tracking, it was the final straw for Kevin and Mike. They hated the direction the app was taking. They saw that Zuckerberg was using their app as a machine that turned people's addictions into a weapon against humanity. They thought
I think that, like, I mean, the location tracking, it's, like, not necessarily a bad thing, but, like, it shouldn't be on by default. That's what a lot of the problems are, is that whenever these things have these, like, massive, like, privacy invasion things that are like, hey, by the way, this is on by default, but you can turn it off. But if you want to do that, you have to go through 8 different menus and then call customer support. That's the problem. Like, I think it's fine. Like, for example, like, because if you're visiting a new city or something like that, and it's like, hey, you know, like, there's an ad for, like, this place that's nearby, I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? It's really not, and it can be okay. But it should not be on by a default.
that Zuck's push for maximum engagement would lead to some of the worst problems that we see today in society. The environment on Instagram was now a constant competition to get the most followers and the most likes on your photos, always having to look the best you possibly could for the algorithm, with the aid of Instagram's inbuilt Photoshop. Unlike the founders, Zuckerberg didn't care at all that the problems on the app would soon spill over into society. As long as it kept making him billions, it didn't matter. Eventually in late 2018, Kevin and Mike gave up fighting against the tide and just decided to leave the company entirely, leaving Mark Zuckerberg free to fully realize his plans for Instagram.
I don't really feel that bad about that for those guys. Like, I really don't. The reason why is that, like, whenever you sold it to the Facebook guy, you knew what Facebook was. I bet both of those guys had Facebook. And, like, they had all of this intrusive data collection on Facebook. And now it's like, oh, wow, I can't believe this is happening to us. What a surprise. Of course it was going to happen. Why do you think he gave you $1 billion?
and this has had an awful effect on society.
They need $1 billion?
ever since. You see, plastic surgery was still a niche industry up until this point. It was only reserved for medical purposes, Bollywood actors and trophy wives. It wasn't nearly as common as it was today, but all of this changed with the arrival of Instagram in the early 2010s. Almost overnight, we saw a rapid transformation in how people presented themselves online, and the images of people we see. Now, we've already discussed what the Kardashians and other celebrities would do to get the perfect picture. After the surgeries, camera angles, and airbrushing, the final image is barely recognizable as the person it depicts. Instagram puts this power into the
I've seen plenty of people that look real good in Instagram. In real life, they don't look like that. I've seen a lot of them. Like, I've seen, no. They don't look like that.
People. With the high-powered camera in people's pockets, they could take what would have been a normal photo, add a filter and some Photoshop to it, and create a vision of perfection. All the little flaws and blemishes that make people human would ironed out. Now nearly anyone could achieve the level of unrealistic perfection that graced magazine covers for years. On its own.
Well, also, like, you got to keep in mind that, like, if they airbrush the shit out of this. Like, they're gonna be photoshopping all this out. They're probably like, they probably color corrected her eyes, maybe even the lipstick as well. Like, this whole thing has been edited like crazy. It's not like they just went, oops, click, and that's it. Every aspect of it, yeah, of course.
On its own, this would have been troubling. For decades, people worried about the negative effects on people's self-esteem and self-image that beauty magazines and Hollywood had. But Instagram took this to the next level. 100 times.
You can do this?
By turning it into a global.
That's crazy.
With millions of fans and billions of dollars on the line for the winners. So of course, it wasn't long before people realized.
I remember I've seen people, like, I don't want to say names, right? But I've seen people that I knew on Instagram, and I didn't even recognize them in real life. Like, there's some of them that are hot in real life too, but there's also some of them that aren't. It's just, it's a bit of both.
With this game, you had to go as far as possible. For the Instagram algorithm to bless you, you had to do whatever it took. The more focused on your image you were, the more money and popularity you could get as an influencer. Constantly being dangled over you, your feed showing you all these people sucked into the same Instagram algorithm, tapping into all your primal needs, playing into men's sexual urges, and for everybody's desire for fame and attention.
That was me.
About selling the illusion of perfection. For a successful influencer, every photo pushed this narrative a bit further forward. They showcase their perfect bodies, their perfect lives, relaxing by pools, in million-dollar yachts, penthouses across the world, smiling.
By the way, I don't really think that this is a problem with Instagram at all. Like, this is like, I know this might be a crazy take, but like, I actually don't think this is a problem with Instagram at all. It's a problem with people's the culture. You know, like, if we didn't have Instagram, people still be doing stupid shit like this. It's just gonna be harder to figure out how to do it. Like, the reality is that the culture, like, there are people that use Instagram in a healthy, normal way, and it doesn't erode and destroy their life. So it's like, why does it happen to some people and not other people? Well, obviously, you know, maybe some people are better at dealing with it. So maybe think about how to deal with it in a better way, rather than try to take everything away from the world because you're not equipped to deal with it. Like, that's the problem that I think a lot of, you know, like, takes on social media have, is like, the solution to it is not, it's not to, you know, take accountability for your own behavior and how you feel. It is, I want the entire world to structurally change in a way that's beneficial to how I believe it would be beneficial. I find this to be very problematic. I do. Social media demonize bald people as well. That's because people don't like being like... Okay, so that's not really true, though, right? I mean, it's really not. Like, look at the guy. Look at Austin Powers. Dr. Evil. I mean, come on. It's not social media, The Rock.
It didn't matter that none of this was actually real, that it was all a fantasy. I mean, strip away the filters and the stage moments, and you just be left with a sad picture of self-obsession and insecurity. Living this way and focusing your whole life on your image is a terrible recipe for disaster. You would expect models, the people who are selected by society as the best-looking people in the world, to have the least problems with.
By the way, like, a lot of models, in my opinion, are not particularly attractive. They just have certain body frames that show off clothes well. Like, I don't think this girl is super hot. I don't think so at all. But, like, there's a reason why, like, male models are, like, 6'2" or taller, and female models are, like, 5'10". It's not a, like, that's not...
critiquing their own appearance, but in fact it's the opposite. Over 40% struggle with body dysmorphia and disordered eating. But this was just for models. This used to just be for these kinds of people whose entire livelihoods depended on their image. But in the last few years, Instagram has globalized its toxic mindset because of the results of its grand competition for visual perfection. All of the perfect illusions posted by influencers online were eaten up by the hundreds of millions of users.
Oh, people love it. People love eating shit.
Some parts of Instagram culture, like using filters and photoshopping your selfies, entered the mainstream and affected the rest of the internet. It all had the effect of making everyone subconsciously disappointed with their own comparatively boring lives. If you weren't part of the
See, I never felt this way. Like, whenever I said, I would always see people going out and doing stuff, I'd be like, oh my god, bro, that must be so... You gotta deal with that shit? God damn. Like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? I gotta deal with this shit? It was nuts. Like, yeah, for me, I never cared about any of that shit.
Elite, then your life
would you get plastic surgery if you were a female? Maybe.
Day. And if you didn't have the flawless figure and perfect face like the influencers, then you just weren't good enough to join the club. The algorithm wouldn't bless you. You'd just be left in the bottom of the barrel, constantly refreshing the likes to see if anyone would give you more attention. And over time, this has led to a huge rise in insecurity, mental illnesses, and body dysmorphia amongst young people in particular. All the perfection made people think that the natural imperfections that everyone else has was something to be ashamed of. Inevitably, influencers were ready to swoop in and
Well, it is something to be ashamed of. That's why they put makeup over it. Like, what are we talking about here? It's obvious. And this is the problem, is, like, everybody likes to talk about this from some kind of fucking idealized perspective. Yeah, why are girls getting BBLs? Because guys like fat asses. That's the reason why. Nobody likes to see wrinkles. It's fucking gross. So that's why people put makeup over their wrinkles and they get Botox to not see them. Like, that's just the way it is. So it's like everybody tries to fucking moralize and, like, high road this shit. But the truth is that, like, why do people use this? Because it makes them look better. Like, fucking obviously. Obviously, that's what happens. I do, but not because I get, look, I get it, but, like, it's not like this is happening for no reason. Like, I've seen girls, I'm just gonna, listen.
There yet?
I've seen plenty of girls that go and they're getting, let's say, 1,000 or 2,000 likes on their photos. They get surgery and they're getting 5 or 10,000 likes on their photos after that.
Yeah. I hate those surgery people. It's scummy. I don't know what's so bad about being natural. I think being natural is better and healthier. Healthier for all society, to be honest. Well, I got a collection item. What's my new collection item? I don't know where it's at. Short by 4. What was my new collection? Oh, it's these bubbles. 2 bubbles. Like, 3 here. And 1 question mark up there. Okay. We got for unlocks 201, 210. 201, 210. Auto characters. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got Sammy. Ooh, he's expensive. One, 2, 3, 4. Who's the new guy? I don't know who it was. $110 banishes. How much do you cost? Too much. 118 banishes. How much do you cost? Not enough banishes. Alright. I'm really close to the end. 94% characters. Almost completed everything. Very few unlocks left to do. Right. We'll finish this one. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.